parents who have joined in for this session, Heart to Heart, Positive Dealing and Healing with Kids. With kids. So it's definitely a nice and cold evening, and let's just warm our hearts a little by talking about kids, how we can actually deal with them without forgetting that we as parents also need some time for ourselves. Now, yes, as a topic, it does sound very interesting, heart to heart. So, when I was working for this session, my first thought that came was that we always talk about dealing with children. We take children in the center of the picture, in the center of a given scenario. But in this process, we tend to forget ourselves, the parents. And it is definitely coming out of an experience that we as parents should not forget ourselves too. Else, there could be dire consequences. So, whenever we are dealing with kids, we focus on treating the kids, our children, in a particular manner. We believe certain skill sets are required. But with the change in situation, with the change in circumstances, now kids are there with you 24/7. The situation has changed. Yes. So there should be a way that we should treat our children, ourselves differently as well. So today we will try to catch the spirit behind the skills and be ready to improvise that we already know of and bring this improvisation into usage. So to begin with, I was a wonderful parent before I had a kid. I was an expert on why everyone else was having problems with their kids. But when you have your own kids, the scenario opens up. You know about the struggles, the challenges, and let me tell you, living with children can be very humbling as well. So, how do we feel when we are around with kids? We get all kind of emotions, we get all kind of feelings. We get loved, we feel excited, we feel good, we feel drained, we feel frustrated, we feel happy, we feel joyful, we do feel overworked. We definitely love to deal with our children, but we also need time to heal, time to restore, time to regain our capacities, our energies. And how we do that? So, today we will be looking out for some strategies to make our experience of parenting more efficient, more goal oriented, and in some sense comfortable also. So, in this slide, a few strategies we'll be opening up to, and we come to the first strategy, that is helping children deal with their feelings. Now, I'll be adding a lot of personal experiences here, and I have also got in touch with few mothers, some of them teachers, some of them maybe in my neighborhood, and yes, as I said, some of my own experience. So, out of my own experience, when every day I wake up, I tell myself today is going to be a different day. Okay, आज का दिन बाकी दिनों से अलग होगा. आज हम अपने आज today I'll be doing something different with my child. We both would be learning something new. We'll be coming up with the something innovative today, or maybe some concept that we'll be learning, or we'll just be spending some good amount of time with each other, or anything that I've planned for the day. But by the end of the day, sometimes you don't even get to secure or get to reach your goal. We are just drained out. We are just worn out. Possibly thinking I haven't done enough today. आज का जो मैंने गोल सोचा था वो तो हुआ ही नहीं. But one thing that really stands out while I spend my day is thinking, did I make an effort to understand what my child was feeling today? This is a very important feeling, and many of us miss that. Did I make an effort to understand what my child was going through? Maybe it could be just a moment, or it could be you can just sum up the experience of the entire day. Sometimes you get a feeling, oh, today, this child is not really happy. There is something that is making sad. Do we try to know what is that feeling? What is that clingy feeling that the child is, embracing through today? So this is very important. Now, why it is important? Because there is a direct connection between how kids feel and how they behave. If they feel good, they behave right. If they feel miserable, then you can see the behavior could be disruptive. The behavior could be they could just shy away in a corner, or they'll just be sulking. So, what do I do at that point in time? How do I uh, help myself to know the feeling of my child? Talk about their feelings. Accept the feelings, accept their feelings. Now, parents, we as parents, uh, we do not usually accept what the child is going through. For example, this is a very workable example. You have seen it at your homes as well. The child says, I am tired today. बहुत थका हुआ हूँ. You as a parent would say, what have you done through the day? What was the major task of the day that you have done today? Nothing. So this is the cross questioning accusations that really begin, and it snowballs them, right? So what we are doing is we are trying to confuse the child. We're trying to take the child away from their feeling. We're trying to enrage the child. We are trying to confuse the child, right? So we are trying to tell the child also that you don't have to trust what you're feeling. That kind of message is also given with the kind of response as parents that we have towards their feelings. I'll give a very mundane kind of an example. Now during winter time it's so cold, right? And it is so difficult for some of the parents to make the child put on their socks, or maybe winter caps, or maybe an extra layer of sweater, right? Even as as parent, I feel so concerned when my child takes off the socks, right? Now I only see the action. The child is taking off the socks. It's so cold. I'm wearing one. Perhaps I'm still feeling cold. But I am here failing to understand that this child, that this person, or this individual may not be comfortable enough. Or this child, this individual is maybe just more warm because the physical movement of the child is more, right? Or the child is not feeling that measure of cold that I'm feeling. So, what we do is we go around the child, we go after the child, no, wear this, do that, because we are misjudging the feeling, we are misjudging the concern, which is very parental. These concerns are very parental, and nobody can take away these concerns from you, right? But that is what adds to our pressures. Our pressures, the parental pressure, the parental stress. This is what is adding to our stresses, right? This is what is adding to our pressures, frustration, because this child is not listening to me only. Now think about yourself. Now put yourself in perspective, in picture. Still at this age, your parents, you as parents, your parents also tell you what to do and what not. Maybe how to run your finances, or maybe they tell you that restrict your movements, or don't go out more, or anything. Parental stress is always there. We as parents, we don't need a situation, we don't need a scenario, right? It is ingrained. So that we have to relieve a little. We have to understand how the other person is feeling. And the child, we have to bring certain detachments. We have to see the child as an individual. This is very tough. Okay, this is a tough practice, especially because of our cultural conditionings also. It is very tough to detach ourselves and see this child as an individual. But with the change in situation, as I said, with the change in circumstances, that we are living in a bubble for 24/7. We are living in a restricted space for 24/7. So we cannot keep on adding frustrations, pressures, aggressions. It will pile so much that you'll went out more frequently. Okay, so give the other person, give that child some space for their own feelings. Now, how do we go around with understanding the feelings? Listen with full attention. Acknowledge how the child is feeling. That acknowledgement can come from a word that can be as simple as or oh, okay, noted, seen, anything. I see your point here, I get your point. So I'm leaving that there. It is very important because the child also will, open to a parent who is listening to that child. Right? So sometimes a sympathetic silence is all is needed by the child, because the child knows I have somebody to count on. I can count on my parent because my mother listens to me. Okay, let's not judge their feelings all the time. Let's not confuse them even more with how they are feeling by questioning, by cross questioning, making a debate out of it, right? So because it also becomes very hard for the child to clearly think, or maybe constructively think, when they are always questioned, when they're always being blamed for something, or when they're always being advised for something. So let's not use the questioning, blaming, advising all the time. So sometimes um, just patiently listening to what they have to say, and what they are talking about, their feelings, how they're talking about their feelings, just register that. But here, some parents also feel that if they accept their feelings, if they accept their child's, if they acknowledge what their child is feeling, they will, they will take it as an excuse all the time. But as a parent, you know when it is a genuine situation and when it is an excuse. So you can very smartly pick those situations where the child is just being phony, being is lying, and where the child is genuinely talking about a feeling. Because when a child uh, is experiencing something, and the parent is there to comfort the child, the child feels better. And the attitude of the parent is very important here. Just acknowledging by or okay, yeah, I've heard, we'll do something about it. So, what kind of attitude you are having while you're dealing with the child? It has to be full of compassion. Compassion um, goes without, it is an essential part of this practice, because if you do not have compassion, it will come out as if you're lying. You are not with the child 100%. You are being manipulative, right? So here, when we are infusing our words, infuse them with empathy. When we are using our words, infuse them with empathy and then speak to the child. So here, sympathy and empathy both are required. Some support is also required and some response is also required. So again, I will give you an example. So for example, this like the online classes are going on, and there are times when the teacher has to point out a certain student. That student may not be very responsive in the class, and the teacher does point out, and it is essential for the teacher also to tell the student that hey, you're not listening, hey, you're not responding at all in the class. But how does the student take it? Student feels that it was a sheer embarrassment. I'm embarrassed, in front of all the classmates. I've been pointed out. Now the teacher points out because the child has not been responsive. There could be n number of reasons. Number one, the mic was not working. Number two, um, the child does not know the answer. Or number three, the child was not present. Right? It was through the friends that he got to know that your name was called and you were pointed out in the class. Now, if it is a genuine reason that the mic was not working, so here the sympathy, the sympathetic support, as a parent, I do understand there is a difficulty with your mic. So that would be something that we are showing sympathy. Yes, you have been, you felt that embarrassment. I see that, and your mic had not been working. So as a responsive parent, you would try to figure out something. Let's figure out, what went wrong. So that is how you infuse um, empathy, you infuse the responsiveness as well, and you show that you understand that feeling. Okay, and there is nothing wrong with feeling in a certain manner. So that is, when we are actually acknowledging a child's feeling, we are doing a great help to the child. What we are doing here is we are putting the child in touch with his inner reality. And when the child is clear about that reality, the child will gather more strength and will be able to cope better with the situation, will have more strength to cope with the situation. So that is a very important point, and make it a practice. To what length you do, to what extent we do, that we have to measure, that we have to see with time how it comes out. Then shifting focus on helping parents deal with some of their own negative feelings. So let's see here, in the first strategy we tried to know how to help a child with having a negative feeling. So here we would see how the parent can help themselves, how the parent can focus on dealing with some negative feelings. Now with kids, the negative feelings, um, they come in small packages, right? And it is a daily struggle sometimes to get your child to behave in a certain way, which is maybe acceptable to us. So there are certain routines that you would want your child to follow, and when the child is breaking that routine, when the child is breaking that order, that could be an order of cleanliness, that could be an order of courtesy. So any of the routines that the children, they break, it kind of frustrates us, it gives us negative feeling. The children could care less. They don't care much about, if the home rules are broken, or if they are violating a kind of routine, or whatever standards you have set. And a lot of parental pressure, parental passion goes into helping our children to follow certain routines. And somehow, we all have seen, the more intense we become, the more actively they would resist. The more you say, do it right now, do it right now, do it right now, they will say, no, I will do it my way. I do it when I want to do. And as parent, our attitude becomes, you'll do as I say. So there is a continuous battle that goes on with how the things have to happen in a particular day. So how do we take out the negativity out of it? We have to take a few minutes to think about what is it that you as a parent really want your child to do, or would not want your child to do in a particular day, in a typical day. So whether your expectations are realistic, unrealistic, however your expectations are, you can make a mental list, you can list them down, and that list will represent your time and your energy, how much time you have to put, how much energy you have to put. So we try to find, is there a solution to the problem, to the battle, to the never ending battle? You want them to do something, they would never, they would do it after a lot of persistence. You have to be after them for a long time, and then you get to see the outcome. So we will look at some of the methods which are most commonly used by adults to get children cooperate with them. So for example, in this picture, if you can see the father telling the child, how many times do I have to tell you to turn off the bathroom light after you use it? So here is a typical body language of the child, of the father, the way the father is telling the same thing time and again. Now it becomes easier to concentrate on the problem for the child when someone just describes it to you. Here, the description says the light is on in the bathroom. The point is there, but the change in the facial expression is there. You see, the movement of the child is there. Okay, so describing a problem, that makes all the difference. Or again, a very practical example, a lot of parents face that. Get off the phone this moment. And when we are describing the problem, it also gives the child a chance to tell themselves what to do. I need to make a phone call now. The child says, I'll be off in a minute. So, how you are describing the problem also gives the children a chance to tell themselves what they have to do. So this strategy works. Rather than being in angst or being angry about a situation, try to describe, try to be descriptive with the problem. It takes away your pressure also, and also work with the body language as well, how you are approaching the child, right? The kind of vibes that are shifted from one person to another through body language, that also makes a lot of difference. So the approach itself has to be very, very positive, though you are giving the same message, but the tonality changes, but the way you are positioning yourself as a parent, that also changes. Then the other strategy is say it with word. Rather than having a long paragraph, or going on with lectures, long explanation, children do prefer just a short reminder. The shorter the better. right? So say it with word works a lot. For example, if you see this example only, the lights on in the bathroom light. That's it. You have said it with the word. You have given what you were, looking for, the thing, the task that you want your child to do, and it will be done. So saying with a word works a lot, and then we come to writing a note. You write a note. Now, sometimes nothing we say is as effective as the written word. Now, it works for teenagers a lot. Now, here the best part is that writing a note, it camouflages the anger, the frustration you might otherwise show, right? So here it is not a face-to-face interaction. So if you want the child to be prepared for the academics, go and perhaps write a note on his working table, or wherever the child is more visible to you at that point in time. Okay, you are not saying it, you are not um, creating a negative environment for yourself also. Okay, so that peace and harmony stays with you, and make it a point that the note is visible to the child. So it works especially with teenagers. Maybe you will receive a note, you know, from the child as a revert, as a response. You know, let it be. So a conversation without, or an interaction without face to face, you know, that works sometimes when you are with the child 24/7, right? So here definitely take note that because of this situation, these things work better for for the parent also, because having a peace of mind, living in harmony, that is the objective that we are looking for here through the session. And then a very, very important point: alternatives to punishment. Now, let's understand punishment before we go ahead. This punishment word, what it actually means. Now, punishment is something that suppresses a response. No punishment suppresses a response permanently. So, whatever punishment that we are giving, maybe here in this uh, um, slide, what we are talking about is more physical punishment, right? So, let's not confuse it by saying that yelling or shouting is a punishment. No, it is not. Even saying no to something is not a punishment, right? If you are restraining a child from something, then it will come in punishment. Or if it is a, you know, physically, if we are punishing the child. So, no punishment suppresses a response permanently. Mild and delayed punishment has no effect. The stronger the punishment, the more lasting is the suppression effect, but it is not permanent. So, through punishment, we are only suppressing a response. Don't expect there would be a change, or don't expect there would be a permanent change through punishment. Now, if you come to see to punish or not, should we be punishing the children, or should we be not punishing the children? Now, when I did speak to a lot of mothers, there comes a time when yes, parents do punish, and after that they do feel guilty. Okay, that I should have controlled myself. I should not have punished the child. Um, and there is a certain guilt that forms in the parent, and no guilt is a healthy guilt, right? It really brings us to shame. It really questions our parenthood as well. So again, I did my little research and did ask a few mothers, why is there a need to punish? And some of the responses that I got was, if you don't punish the kids will try to get away with anything. Then another parent said, sometimes I get so frustrated, I don't know what else to do. And then another response that was gained here was, how will my child learn that what he has done was wrong, what he did was wrong, and not to do it again if I don't punish him. So these were certain responses that I had got from a few parents on knowing the importance of punishment. Again, is punishment a last resort? Is it the only resort sometimes that we have? So no, let's look at some possibilities other than punishment as well. For example, and this is very common with our little ones, the younger lot, uh, that in a social setup or whenever the parent is going in a marketplace or is outside home, maybe taking children to park, maybe taking children to the park or any social setup, they do get stuck there. They do want to spend a lot of time, but then there are certain time constraints, and the parent has to really take the child, back home. So it becomes a difficulty. So what do we do in when children behave in a certain manner in a social setup? So here I have taken an example. If a child goes out with you to buy a few things, or if you have taken the child to um, maybe a mall or something, some open area where there are a lot of people, uh, definitely maintaining the social distance as well. Um, so, if the child does break into some misbehavior or is showing certain kind of misbehavior, the first thing as parents that we all do is we express strong disapproval. Okay. Yes, we all do that. We disapprove of whatever the the child is doing, the misdemeanor or the misbehavior of the child. But do we do that without attacking the child? For example, if you are taking the child in a marketplace, and the child is running around, okay, the whole place, you express it, you disapprove the behavior. What we have to say here is it is disturbing to people, rather than attacking the child and saying you are disturbing the people around. Okay, so you has to be taken in very consciously. Then state your expectation. What are your expectations? What are some of the expectations that you have set if you're taking the child out? Show the child how to make amends. If the child is just running around in a marketplace, you can tell the child to uh, you know um, you can walk the cart if you have a cart, if you've gone to a to buy certain things, or if the child is wearing gloves, then the child can pick up the stuff for you and keep it for you. So you can tell how to make amends at that point in time. You can offer a choice. You can either walk with me, or you can either um, sit at one place. So you're offering choices to the child and then taking an action. If the child is still moving around, making you know a lot of misbehavior is there seen by the child, not coming with you, you take an action. But here the kind of action that we parents take, we do yell or we shout in a social setup, that has to be restrained. So taking action does tell you to remove the child from the situation, but as a parent you have to restrain yourself from shouting, because if we shout as parents in an open setup, in a social setup, the child gets to know it's okay to shout, it's okay to yell publicly. So we are setting a wrong example here. And then allowing the child to experience the consequences of his misbehavior. Now, experiencing a consequence to his behavior, here the child needs to understand that if the same kind of behavior is repeated, then he or she would not be taken out for maybe to a park or to, marketplace or wherever you are taking the child at that point in time, with definitely all the precautions. So this is what, a lot of parents with younger children, they do face. They tend to, some of the children do not even, open up, or they don't even greet the other people that they meet, right? They are very uptight. So certain expectation, you have to state an expectation when you are taking the children out in a social setup. For the teenagers, for the adolescents, the parents have only one concern, that is their academics. Now, children do not really, focus much on academics, and then, you know, it actually leads to, parents handling down the punishment. So, how we can restrain the usage of punishment by the parents when children are not ready to learn, when the children are not ready to sit for their academics. Now, here, when children are not persistent with studies, we use problem solving. The basic problem solving strategies that we use is, first, we brainstorm together to find a mutually agreeable solution. So, setting up a timetable, setting up a schedule, sitting together, making one. You not dictating the rules, but the child also has a lot of say. So you both can, write down the ideas, let the ideas flow, right? And do not evaluate the ideas right there, that time. Okay, that evaluation will come little later, but let the ideas come. Then deciding which suggestions you like, which you do not like. Now, as teenagers will give a lot of suggestion, this time works, because they have to see their own time, for they need their time for their phone, or they need their time for their television, or their own projects, or their studies, or however they want to plan, right? But you as parent, be smart to tell them, to suggest them that, this is your personality, this is your routine, this is how active you are at certain times. So let's try to be a little suggestive that these timings would be better, and make it more clear to them why you are saying it. Okay, be descriptive in what you are suggesting. Then, which you plan to follow through on, like you can follow through the plan that you have created, and this is a more workable kind of a solution than we bring, punishment into picture. But sometimes, the parents also say that we do make schedules, we do make a timetable, but they are not persistent. They do not follow through. 2 days they'll follow, and the next day they will, try to unfollow, or they'll try to have their own schedules ready. So keep a schedule handy, how you can put it on the table that they study, right? And if they're not following, say it with a word, say it with a note. Don't go after the child. You're not studying, you're not studying, you're not studying. Don't have, it doesn't have to be verbal, that verbal. Okay, stick to your point, be descriptive to some extent, to some measure, and uh, you can make it very clear by something like write a note. So it is, parenting is an amalgamation of a lot of strategies. Sometimes one strategy works, sometimes the other doesn't work. Sometimes you come out with your own strategy, right? How to deal with your kid, every child is different. So however you work on, these are certain strategies, in a broader spectrum, and you can take what works for you. Not everything will work for, each child. So you take the pieces that you feel that, this works for my child, because my child has a certain kind of personality. Then coming with encouraging autonomy. Now that is very, very important, and why it is very important is, uh, there is a lot of sometimes anger. There is a lot of aggression sometimes that um, is seen in our adolescence, and we don't know. why they are feeling this, why are they so enraged, why they are so hostile all the time. So one of the reasons is, one of the reasons, there are many reasons, but one of the reasons that has been seen is the children, the adolescents, the young budding children, they are too much dependent on their parents. Now, because of their age, because of their inexperience, we as parents, we think there is so much that we can do for our children. They don't have to struggle for something. And why should they struggle when I'm there to tell them, when I'm there to show them, how it has to be corrected or how it has to be done. Now, the very thought, how can I let my child make mistake or struggle, that creates a kind of, hostility, that creates dependence even more. So it is because of this dependence the children do feel, enraged, and this kind of, it when the child is enraged because of certain reason, it comes out in the environment of the whole house. Okay, then the aggression is transferred. Even you feel, why are you so, frustrated, or what have I done, what have I said that you feel, in a certain way. So let's see some of the ways where we can minimize this dependency, and we can make our children more responsible, because that will take away their aggression. And if they are um, much more, calmer, even we as parents, we are more calm in our own space. So there are fortunately a lot of opportunities that we can encourage to bring a sense of autonomy. So here are certain specific skills for self-reliance that we will be looking for. First of all, children make choices, but the choices can be provided by you as parents, and limit the choices. Now, with teenagers, if they are too engrossed in television, if they are too engrossed on their phones, you can give them a choice. What time are you going to pick up for your studies? Is it before lunch or after lunch? So, this is the kind of choice you have provided, right? For younger kids, it could be anything from choosing what to wear, or how many pages of homework they are going to do. Let them choose the portion size of food they want on their plate. So what, so you can devise, we can look out for opportunities in our mundane life also, where you are giving them autonomy. Show respect for a child's struggle. Now this is very important, especially for the younger lot. Children, they will struggle, they will slog, while they're learning a new task. Now, recognizing a struggle and accepting a struggle is very important. Uh, Moderator, somebody's camera is on. Please, if you can see, it's on my screen. Thank you so much. So, we have to show respect for the child's struggle. If the child is learning a new task, it is very difficult for the first few days, but you recognize and you accept the struggle. When the child's struggle is respected, he or she, that person gathers courage to see a job through by himself. So, example, if a child is trying to um, lace the shoes, right? Or with younger children, zipping or buttoning. It takes time, it takes practice, but you will be like, I'll help you. You learn it yourself as you grow up. Let me help you. Okay. So this kind of attitude is not what is expected. We have to show respect. Okay. Tell that child that okay, it is it is a fine art, and you take your time, you take your good time, and it is a work of hands, right? So give that kind of time to the child. And with the teenagers, with the adolescents, um, they just don't want to finish a task, they want to do it with finesse. A lot of adolescents, you see their copies, you see their work, they will try to sketch a lot. They will make it so visual and so beautiful. It's not about completing a task. For them, it is also a way that they can represent their task beautifully. So they would like to take good time and beautifully arrange things because they want finesse. Doing a task they know now. Now, how they bring finesse for that they would take time. So here, you can always be with the child. You can always use scaffolding, right? That is being helpful to the child, maintaining, kind of a measure of response that you have to give at that time, right? So that is very, very important. You have to recognize, yes, it is difficult, but I hope you will get through it. So this kind of, respect that has to be shown. And don't ask too many questions. Yes, they have a private life now. Children are changing, evolving the way they used to perceive themselves as individuals. Now, they don't see themselves as just your, son or daughter, right? They are individuals. And we at our age never, when we were young, we never had that kind of a feeling. But with the change in time, they feel that you are asked too many questions, you are invading, you are entering into my personal space or my life a lot. But as a parent we can't detach, right? As a parent we can't say no, you can do whatever you want, I will not ask. No. So here the parent has to be very smart. You have to, you want to inquire something, you can knit a story, you give your own personal experiences, you give your friends personal, you give your friends experiences, their children. Even if you don't have that friend, make make up a friend, and try to get inquire things. So that is how things work. Things have changed drastically, and yes, with they're they having laptops in their hand most of the time, they're having phones in their hands most of the time, in a day. There is not much one parent can know what is actually going in a child's private life, but you have to find out your ways. And it cannot always happen through direct questioning. You have to know your own ways, how to know things, what is happening in a child's life. Then encourage children to use sources outside the home. It could be a pet shop, dentist, school. You can, throw in some questions that the child wants to know from outside um, sources also now because of the restriction of the movement. But when the world really opens up, give that kind of exposure. A lot of young children have missed on a lot of exposures because of the restrained movement because of the pandemic, definitely. But once the world opens up, is back again, definitely there would be some precautions that we would have to take all the time. But then encourage children to find out more about what happens. Then don't take away hope, however small the endeavor is. Instead of preparing them for disappointment, let them experience. Now, I'll give you an example. I did ask, some children that what they want to be. Some wanted, so now the whole scenario has also changed. Now, a lot of children, they want to go into biotechnology, they want to be app designers, they and still we get the responses that they want to pursue their career in civil services, they want to be an architect, these kind of responses. So when parents ask their children what you want to become, and the child says, I want to be a doctor, you know that the child is not studying that hard. But how would you encourage the child from there? You just can't say, with this kind of timings that you are spending on your academics, you want to be a doctor. This is not how the child would be encouraged. It will be very disappointing for the child. So, how you have to create hope? Okay, I hear you. All right, you want to consider a career in medicine. Let's plan something for that. You're giving hope that yes, even if the child feels my marks are not that great and I have an ambition, I can still work around with my ambition. You're not taking the child and um, you know making him realize how bad or how worthless he is because he's not getting marks, but you're giving a hope. Yes, of course there can be a chance. Let's carve out a way. Let's plan out something. Let's figure out something how we get to the goal. So hope is very, very important, and a very essential part of encouraging children, of keeping harmony, is praising. Praising works wonders with self-image, building a very positive self-esteem, but it is a tricky business also. Now, how it becomes a tricky business? Um, Sometimes when you praise somebody, a child, you do feel you are getting some unexpected reactions. Now, when does it happen? When we're not clear about the intentions, when we're just trying to make the child happy. Okay, so for example, if the child has made something for first time, maybe it is an artwork, maybe it is something that he has cooked in the kitchen, and you say, wow, it is wonderful, it is delicious. The child knows how badly he has cooked, how bad it, tastes, but you still go about, praising. The child knows either you are lying or you are such a bad cook that you don't know that this is something bad that I've made. So here the child will doubt your intentions, and the child will not give you a very positive kind of a reaction. So when we are praising, uh, we have to be very, very clear. We don't have to give a false praise just to make the kid happy. It will add to the pile of pressure again. Then praise can also lead to immediate denial. Yes, if you are telling the child how wonderfully you're dressed, you're always wonderfully dressed, right? To maybe your kid or some other kid, the child may feel that you should have seen me an hour ago. So a constant, immediate denial that this is, you actually do not mean it. Okay, or um, I'm looking good, but I'm not always this good, right? So again, very consciously make use of the words, and we'll see how we need to make use of the words. And praise can be threatening. Now you have told somebody that you're always beautifully dressed. Now this can be a threat. Now how do I look the next time? I should look the best because I always look good. I have to keep my standards, so it can be threatening for the child also. So sometimes we as parents think I have praised, but this child is not taking, the praise too well, or this child is just rejecting my praise as fast as I gave. So we, occasionally use words uh, for praising the child. We use a lot of evaluatory words, for example, good, fantastic, beautiful it is looking. So um, that's not how praise works. So how praise works is you have to be descriptive in the appreciation. So it works in two ways, by the adult and by the child. So by the adult, it could be you have to be descriptive. So whatever you have seen, whatever you have felt, pick up the words from their work only and then talk about it. So the child also know that you have heard, you have listened, and the praise is genuine. And then when the child hears that yes, you have actually gained an insight into what I have, done, the child will be able to praise himself. हाँ ये तो मैंने सच में अच्छा करा है, right? So that kind of, when the child himself says and himself praises, after you have praised, that is the measure that you have hit the bullseye. So that is how it actually works. So uh, I hope these strategies definitely takes off some of the pressure uh, from us, from the parents, and we don't have to constantly be after our children. Find and devise your own strategies or your own ways, taking a brief from what we have talked today, and build in your own steps how to bring calmness in your life, because these ways which we are talking about, the children themselves can also learn a lot from here. You as adults would be implementing some of them, and the children can also learn and use them for the rest of their lives, for with their friends, with their co-workers. They also would also be parents one day. So the kind of standards that you set for them, you know they will be definitely walking on your steps in future. So take care of that and take care of yourself. Yes, healing is very important. Saving your energies, your capacities, your abilities, you all have to um, uh, invest into parenting in a certain way that it doesn't take a toll on yourself as parents. So, thank you everyone for such a patient listening, and it was, I hope it gave you an insight into some of the essentials. And yes, we are now open for Q&A. I see Priyanshu, Kumarja, Vanshika, and Kamakshi. Yes, Priyanshu, parents of Priyanshu, you can go ahead if you have any question right now. Priyanshu, you are parent of Priyanshu. You're not very audible.
Yes, I would like to quickly mention that the attendees here are able to unmute themselves. So kindly, Priyanshu, parent of Priyanshu, go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanshu, ma'am. I would need your support in this Q&A round uh, while you introduce the parent to me. So that will
Yes,
be
ma'am, definitely.
thank you so much.
Okay, I think meanwhile we can go ahead. Parent of Kamakshi, kindly ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please. We can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, at times, since the children have been at home, at times they need to, get off with the studies kind of a things, right? Though they are keen to join the classes and keen to, attentive to be in the classes, but still, when I, give them some work, they just can't do it. I have also praised them. I have tried to, make them a timetable so that they can follow it. But I don't know, something is not been working. And since the exam has been nearby, then it felt me that something is missing with that kind of a configuration. So, I
Okay,
need
my
your
question is, are you working from home right now?
no.
All right. Okay. So yes, Kamakshi, we have met Mr.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes, we do.
yes, I do remember, and
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of concerns here, uh, right? That
Mm-hmm.
we can really speak about how you are managing your life at home, uh, what kind of time you are providing to the children. So it depends a lot on that also. Also the number of caregivers that are there, and the kind of uh, significant others that are there in the family. So do take a note of these things, right? And yes, you can give them certain you know tasks for the day, and however they do, by the end of the day when you come back home, you should be able to see if those tasks are completed or not. Yes, Mr. Yadav, are you still there? Yes, Priyanshi ma'am, do we still have Mr. Yadav with us?
Ma'am, he's on. Yes, he's on mute.
Okay,
Hmm.
all right. So we have to
Okay.
see a yes. So we have to see a lot of dynamics, how we are working, and with certain um, cases there are a lot of dynamics that are involved. So definitely making a schedule is an important part which parents do, but how you get through, following the following part has to be very important. एक बार schedule बना दिया वही काफ़ी नहीं होता. schedule को किस तरह follow कराना है, किस तरह घर के timings क्या हैं, क्या क्या exposures हैं घर पे, हम काफ़ी चीज़ों का हमें यहाँ पर ध्यान रखना होता है. तो अगर हम वो चीज़ों को ध्यान रखेंगे और बैलेंस में रखेंगे, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव reinforcements को साथ में रखेंगे, then we can come up with more workable situation. Yes, Priyanshi ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Next, we have parent of Nakshatra Yadav.
Okay.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. It's very interesting session, and like you are saying, we are giving positive reinforcements to the
Hmm.
kid.
Hmm.
Me too, I am also giving small topics for him to understand and learn by himself. And
Okay.
when I came back from office, I see that
Hmm.
completed that task, and I
Good.
was very much impressed by his work, and I
Okay.
do give him positive reinforcements for that.
Right.
Yes, right? Yeah, and this session was very informative, and I do get insight about parenting tips given by you.
Thank
It's
you so
really,
much, Mrs.
yeah,
Yadav.
it's really
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, next we have a question in the chat box by a parent of Maruti.
Right.
They are asking about how to deal with the aggressive behavior of the child.
Right. So this is a very broad spectrum question. You know, uh, when we're talking about aggression in children, what we are, we have to be very specific. What kind of aggression is that? Okay. Uh, Now these kind of questions have to be dealt with a one-on-one interaction, because there are a lot of variables that are present in a certain scenario. So what are the variables at a particular home, or what are the situation, what are the circumstances? Now if we take in a broad spectrum, aggression could be because of any anything. The aggression could be because of the dependence. Aggression could be you're not getting um, you know your TV to watch, or basically it can be anything. You're not getting freedom to go outside, or you cannot live the life as you once lived on. So there could be n number of assumptions. uh,
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Parent of Maruti, kindly uh, uh,
they can be more
your
specific. Yes.
video, their video is on. Kindly turn that off. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanshi ma'am. So when you are asking how to treat the aggressive nature, you have to be more specific. So do we have any more questions?
No, ma'am. No more parents
All
have raised their hands.
okay. Thank you so much, everyone. And
Ma'am, parent of
all
Ayant Sharma has just raised their hand. Kindly ask your question. Thank you.
Ma'am, my kid generally watch mobile all the time,
hmm,
and if we stop the mobile, he watch the TV, and he very means, he cannot stop himself, and we have to sometime um, कुछ डांटना ही पड़ता है कई बार, तो उसके
hmm,
लिए कुछ ऑप्शन है
hmm.
हम कर सकें?
देखिए, अगर बच्चा सिर्फ टीवी देख रहा है, मोबाइल देख रहा है, मतलब आपने और चॉइसेस नहीं रखी हुई ना बच्चे को इंटरेस्ट करने की। ब्रिंग इन मोर चॉइसेस वेयर द चाइल्ड कैन बी मोर इंटरेस्टेड। इट कुड बी, आई डोंट नो द एज ऑफ द चाइल्ड। आप यहाँ पर बच्चे की एज बता सकते हैं? 6, oh,
6 years.
wonderful. There is a lot, there is a plethora of material that the child can be interested in. We just have to provide that material. And once you provide that material, the child will be least interested in sitting and just watching television or we have some um, okay, mic was on, somebody's mic was on. So आप उसको जितनी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें देंगे उसके लिए, मे बी पजल्स, देयर कैन बी, आजकल स्क्रैबल कार्ड्स भी आते हैं। देयर इज लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट द चाइल्ड कैन रियली गेट बिजी विद। Get him to read some books. I would really encourage the parents to get some Dr. Seuss books. They are really, really very fascinating for the children also. और काफ़ी बच्चे, it has a lot of fantasy. They like to read and they like to know because every word rhymes. It is just so, fascinating for the children and so interesting. So आप जितने interesting material बच्चों को देंगे वो उतना ये टीवी और मोबाइल और इन चीज़ों से हटता जाएगा।
मैम, फुल डे देना कोई मटेरियल, ये भी थोड़ा पॉसिबल मुश्किल लगता है। कुछ घंटे तो
बिल्कुल,
दिया जा सकता है या खेला भी जा
बिल्कुल। तो
सकता
आप अपने साथ जो आप काम कर रहे हैं, जैसे अगर मम्मा किचन में है तो बच्चा भी किचन में जा सकता है। अगर मम्मा चपाती बना रहे हैं तो बच्चे को भी डो दिया जा सकता है। सो यू हैव टू, इतना आजकल थोड़ा देखिए हम भी प्रिकॉशंस लेके थोड़ा सा, जैसे बच्चे झूले तक चले गए, आप साथ में सुपरवाइज कीजिए, या आपके घर में और लोग हैं तो कोई एक जना सुपरवाइज कर सकता है। सो दिस काइंड ऑफ, you have to work around with material present. You have to work around with the people that are present at home. So with our kids we do that. So and it works, it does work. क्योंकि
Excuse me,
सारा
ma'am.
टाइम
है। Thanks.
बच्चों को देना बहुत मुश्किल है, दैट वी अंडरस्टैंड। और बच्चे जितने छोटे होते हैं उतने उनकी मूवमेंट भी बहुत होती है। सो डेफिनेटली यू कैन यूज।
Excuse me, ma'am.
मिसेस शर्मा, यस
Yes, ma'am. Can I interrupt in that, ma'am, please?
यस यस, श्योर श्योर।
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, ma'am. There is a lot of work for the school also. The children get fed up. We are also get fed up. Honestly, we are saying the lot of work are there. Every time the children is sitting front of the laptop and sometimes the front of the mobile. And ma'am, then also we just saying us ki just do this type of work, this type of work, this type of work, ma'am. They children get the fed up, ma'am. Honestly, we also get the fed up. क्या इनको बार बार बोले यार, क्या बोले, तुम चुप हो जाओ, क्या बोले तुमको। मैम वी आर फ्लक्चुएट, ऑनेस्टली मैम प्लीज गाइड कि हम लोग क्या करें। वी आर फ्लक्चुएट ऑनेस्टली
सी,
बिकॉज द लॉट
तभी
ऑफ
तो
वर्क
ये
फ्रॉम
सेक्शन
द
हुआ है ताकि आप अपनी फ्रस्ट्रेशंस को जरा कम करिए। देखिए स्कूल वर्क तो अब बिकॉज मीडियम चेंज हो गया है तो बच्चे की लर्निंग तो हम उस पर तो कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होना चाहिए। ये एज पेरेंट आपको स्टैंड लेना चाहिए रादर देन पुटिंग इट ऑन maybe the other side,
Right.
take a stand,
Right, ma'am.
right? That I want improvement in my child. I want my child to, have the same kind of knowledge that the child should have imbibed when the child was going to the school. You want, अब तो बल्कि resources भी ज़्यादा हो गए हैं, आने जाने का time नहीं है, बच्चा अपने comfort में है. You are missing on those essential points which are making the child more comfortable right now, rather than you are, going into the negative. So you have to change your perception. Number one, you have to see that yes, my child is now even more comfortable now, even if the child is utilizing the time in, doing homework, or the screen time has definitely the screen time has increased, but what kind of message the child is taking, what type of knowledge, the learning the child is taking, that is very different vis-a-vis what it used to be at school. ओके, अब तो एक्सपोजर भी बढ़ गया है. डेफिनेटली स्कूल का
Hmm.
एक्सपोजर तो एक लार्ज लेवल पे होता है, बट ये भी एक
Yes.
एक्सपीरियंस है. योर योर फैमिली हैव सर्वाइव्ड दिस, द पैंडमिक, right? We all are fighting and we are surviving. It itself is an experience. So don't shy away, don't sulk because of this experience. Take it as an experience कि हमने वो जिया है, वो साल हम रहे हैं, उस साल पे हमने देखा है, हमने वो स्ट्रगल भी करी है और हम उस स्ट्रगल से उभरे भी हैं. तो why not, have that kind of perception, and your child will also have that kind of perception, because that is the vibe that you are going to share with your child. If you are saying बहुत काम देते हैं यार स्कूल वाले, बस करो,
No,
the
no, ma'am.
child
I'm
will
not
also,
saying that.
yeah, your child will also
Actually,
going to repeat the same thing, right? So
actually,
please take
ma'am,
it.
the thing is
हाँ.
that कि
हम्म.
अगर हम लोग उनको कॉमिक्स लेके आए हैं या एक
हम्म.
सारी बुक लेके आए, अब फिर
हम्म.
से इनको पढ़े, मतलब दे
हम्म.
आर सेइंग कि अब फिर से इनको पढ़े क्या?
हम्म.
अभी तो पढ़ के हटी हो. मैंने कहा चलो आप ये बुक लो, आपकी आईज थक गई है, आप ये करो.
हम्म.
अब
हम्म.
मम्मा फिर से पढ़े क्या? मतलब
तो
कि वो
बच्चों को
आप
देखो, आप पढ़ाने की स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज करो. थोड़ा टाइम आप बच्चे के साथ स्पेंड करो, थोड़ा सा आप रीड करो. बच्चे में अपने आप ही वो एक्साइटमेंट होगी, यार आगे होगा क्या, वो अपने आप रीड करेगा. आप थोड़ा सा उसको स्टार्ट करवाओ, और जब आप स्टार्ट करवा के आप अपने काम जो भी करने हैं आपके आप करो, आपके हाउस होल्ड चोर्स हैं जो करना है आप करो. बट वो थोड़ा सा आपको जहाँ पे स्टार्ट है ना, वो आपको देना पड़ेगा. और वो बच्चे में जो क्यूरोसिटी होगी ना, यार क्या होगा, ये इंटरेस्टिंग है. बच्चे तो सबसे पहले ये क्यूरोसिटी और ये जो इंटरेस्ट जो डेवलप होता है ना, वो बहुत जल्दी कैच कर लेते हैं. And then you will be off to your work and your child will be very busy. The child will not take, call you for another 1 hour. So you can, do whatever you want to do at that time.
right, ma'am.
So that can be
Right, ma'am. Ma'am,
right. Thank you
thank
so
you very much,
much,
ma'am.
Ms. Sharma. Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Ma'am, we have parent of Riyansh Tanwar. Kindly ask your question.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Please go ahead, Mrs. Tanwar.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have two sons, okay, and both are studying in DAV school, right? मैम दोनों बच्चों का जो शेड्यूल है बहुत ज्यादा एक तो क्लैश करता है, ठीक है? हेलो,
Yes, yes, yes. I'm listening. I'm
आर यू
listening.
लिसनिंग?
Please go. Yes, yes. Loud and
मैम
clear.
दोनों का ओके मैम, दोनों का टाइमिंग क्लैश करता है, दोनों के वर्क सबमिट कराने का टाइमिंग क्लैश करता है. मैम मैं एक ज्वाइंट फैमिली में रहती हूँ, मेरे मदर इन लॉ फादर इन लॉ सबको देखना पड़ता है. तो एक तो टाइम की मुझे बहुत शॉर्टेज है, ऊपर से बहुत ज्यादा, जैसे अभी अभी एक पेरेंट ने कहा, स्कूल वर्क बहुत ज्यादा होता है. एकदम से और सब्जेक्ट्स का वर्क आ जाता है, उसकी लास्ट डेट ये है, सबमिट करो, ये वर्क सबमिट करो, मतलब हौच पौच हुआ पड़ा है पूरा दोनों बच्चों का. पेरेंट्स मीटिंग में हम लोग कुछ कंप्लेन करते हैं ना, उस पर कोई कुछ रिएक्शन नहीं होता. मैम छोटा बेटा है, वो प्री प्राइमरी में है. मैम काफी पेरेंट्स ने बोला कि क्लासेस का टाइमिंग ज्यादा है, कुछ पेरेंट वर्किंग है, कुछ नॉन वर्किंग है, प्रॉब्लम सब फेस कर रहे हैं. तो हमने बोला पेरेंट्स ने कि आप 2 घंटे की क्लासेस कर दीजिए छोटे बच्चों की, क्योंकि मुझे रियांश का भी देखना पड़ता है, मुझे छोटे का भी सेम टाइमिंग है, ठीक है मैम? तो वो टाइमिंग पे
Okay.
किसी ने कुछ शॉर्टेज नहीं की भी, थोड़ा सा चलो 3 घंटे है, बच्चे नहीं करते. छोटे बच्चे को लेकर बैठना बड़ा टफ टास्क है. बैठ जाओ बेटा बैठ जाओ ना, उनको खाने पीने का ब्रेकफास्ट का टाइम होता है ना कुछ होता है, किसी को फ्रेश होना है, छोटे बच्चे है मैम, ठीक है? और मैम
Hmm.
ये रियाज और मैम ये बड़ी क्लासेस का रेंज का तो मैम बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ता, वही जैसे सेम पीरियड ने कहा, थोड़ा सा टीवी है, फोन है, 3 घंटे फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं क्लासेस लेके। उसके बाद ब्रेकफास्ट वगैरह होता है, फिर पूरा टाइम मम्मी अभी पढ़ लें, अभी तो फ्री हुए हैं, फिर इतना सारा रिटर्न वर्क है मैम। इतना तो जब स्कूल जाते थे ना, इतना भी पेरेंट्स पे बर्डन नहीं था जितना अब हुआ। अब छुट्टियां हैं, नानी हाउस आए हैं, बच्चों को सबको चेंज चाहिए, क्लासेस लेके बोर हो गए। अब फिर अभी रिसेंटली एग्जाम हुए, दोबारा से डेट शीट आ गई है, और जो सिलेबस चैप्टर्स हो चुका है उसको दोबारा दिया जा रहा है। तो बच्चों का 5 चैप्टर कंटिन्यूसली लर्न करना तो मैम बच्चे नहीं करते हैं।
All right. Suruchi ma'am, may I take this?
Yes, yes, sure, sure. If you want to take this, please go ahead.
Hello, Mrs. Tanvar. I'd like to put this one point forward for all the parents. Uh, we understand the state of affairs, as Suruchi ma'am very beautifully she mentioned and stated how all of us are coping all together, and we have actually done a very good job. We've been in this same situation since March 2020. One thing that we can maybe just compare, that earlier we were going to school, the students were going to the school since I think 7:30 till 2:30, and there the classwork used to happen. There they used to get certain homework, they were able to do the work that they were supposed to do. And it was not, I don't think it was for 2 hours or 3 hours of class. There were a lot of interactions happening, which was definitely a more favorable situation at the time. अब
मैम बच्चे
हमारा
फ्रस्ट्रेट हो
perspective
चुके हैं,
थोड़ा
बहुत
सा
ज्यादा
change.
फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुके हैं बच्चे,
Yes,
है ना,
I'm
बिल्कुल
coming to
भी।
that. I'm coming to that. हमारा पर्सपेक्टिव थोड़ा सा चेंज इसीलिए हो रहा है because we are in that same environment where we are also taking classes, school classes, we're also doing homework, we're also staying at home. Even for you as a parent, you are also handling the school work and online classes and homework. So as ma'am said in the earlier question, that first and foremost what we need to do is identify our approach. Identify in even the session मैम ने बहुत अच्छे से ये मेंशन करा था कि फर्स्ट वी नीड टू, हमें अपनी फीलिंग इस चीज को लेकर समझनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि कुछ चीजें होती है वो हमारे कंट्रोल के बाहर होती है. Maybe there will be a point where we won't be able to control each and everything according to our likes and dislikes. But how can I control, how can I move forward with my behavior or my approach in this specific situation? So how, maybe what we can do is, since you have two sons who are in different classes, who also have the same timings and same uh, uh, dates to
Schedules
for
to.
submissions,
Yeah.
yes, same schedules, हम वहां पर थोड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर ला सकते हैं. Maybe we can spend time and tell the both your sons how things are changing and how they will have to be, they'll also have to come forward and cope. यहाँ पर ये नहीं हो रहा है बात कि हम सिचुएशन को कैसे चेंज करें, क्योंकि वो सीरियसली चेंज नहीं हो सकती, इट्स अ पैंडेमिक. बट द थिंग इज, हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू कोप विद दैट पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन, हम उसको कैसे डील कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पर बात हमारे खुद की चैलेंजेस से रिलेटेड है, हमारी खुद की क्षमता से रिलेटेड है. सो आई थिंक बोथ, इवन आई कुड रियली, मैं समझ सकती थी जब आप बोल रहे थे, इवन
दरवाजा बंद कर देना.
in the earlier one, we were able to understand how stressful it is. It's not just for parents, it's even for teachers, because they are giving their 24/7 for their assessments. Assessments रखने का reason एक है, so that
मैम बहुत
students
जल्दी
become
जल्दी हो
more
रहे हैं
active.
मैम, बच्चे फ्रस्ट्रेट हो रहे हैं, बहुत जल्दी जल्दी देते हैं, अभी हुए हैं, अभी रिजल्ट आया, लास्ट अभी पीटीएम ही थी, फिर दोबारा से डेट शीट देगी है, और जो चैप्टर्स ऑलरेडी डन है उसको दोबारा ले रहे हैं. बच्चे बहुत ज्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुके हैं मैम. 5 चैप्टर्स लर्न करना नॉट पॉसिबल मैम,
तो
बहुत मैम
पहले
पेरेंट्स.
ओके ओके मिसेस तनवर, पहले क्या ये चैप्टर्स नहीं होते थे? You try to compare a situation which we are
मैम पहले
going through
पेरेंट्स को
right
इतना
now.
टेंशन नहीं देना पड़ता था, बच्चा है उसको साथ 3 घंटे छोटे बच्चे को लेके बैठूं,
Right, right.
क्लासेस कराना, मैम पहले इतना बर्डन नहीं था. ऊपर
Okay,
से
okay.
प्रोजेक्ट
Let
मिलते
me
हैं
let
मैम,
me
पहले नहीं
let
था
me
मैम. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड पेरेंट्स की
let
सिचुएशन में, ट्राई कर मैम. बहुत
let
ज्यादा प्रोजेक्ट वर्क मिलता है, बहुत ज्यादा और सब्जेक्ट का ये
आप
है वो है,
बात समझिए
लास्ट ईयर
मिसेस
तक नहीं
तनवर.
था मैम.
ओके ओके, होल्ड ऑन मिसेस तनवर, ये भी समझिए, जब मैंने
I,
यहाँ पर एनकरेजिंग ऑटोनॉमी, अपने बच्चों को इंडिपेंडेंट बनाना, ये जब पॉइंट हम क्यों लाए हैं, ये पैंडेमिक को सोचकर ही लाए हैं। अगर आप अभी भी अपने बच्चों को इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं बना रहे हैं या उनको कई चीजें खुद से करने को नहीं दे रहे हैं, तो आप ही का टाइम जाएगा, राइट? रियांश कर सकता है जितना वो कर सकता है, बल्कि इतनी एज के बच्चे तो अपने पेरेंट्स की हेल्प कर रहे हैं इन डूइंग हाउस होल्ड चोर, सो हाउ यू आर गाइडिंग द चाइल्ड, that is also very important. Okay, guide your child to become more independent. This is the best opportunity that parents can use to make their children
मैम
independent.
एक्चुअली
But
टाइम ही शॉर्टेज है, और रेयांश को बहाना है मम्मा आप जब बैठोगे तभी मैं करूंगा, अदरवाइज मैं नहीं पढ़ूंगा। उसको मैं कितना प्यार से मार कर हर तरीके से उसको समझा चुके मैम, पर उसको ये बहाना है, पता है उसको मम्मा
तो
के पास टाइम
पेरेंट्स
नहीं है,
स्किल
all
काम
right.
आते हैं
मुझे
यही।
पढ़ना
Mrs.
नहीं
Tanwar,
पड़ेगा।
first
Right.
let's take a deep breath. I think
Yes,
we need
yes,
to
she needs to
be
calm
more
down.
calm. And
Yeah,
क्या
yes,
होता है जब पानी बहुत ज्यादा when there are a lot of waves, we're not able to look at things more clearly. So
right.
that's what happening. Let's take a deep breath and understand what Suruchi ma'am is trying to say, and we are actually
And
understanding your point very very very
right,
clearly.
right. And you need to take things little easy, Mrs. Tanwar. Okay? बहुत
Okay.
rushed है. You need to calm down. Need to get some time for yourself. So आप अपना एक टाइम बनाइए, आप उसमें रिलैक्स हुए और जो थोड़ी बहुत चीज़ें हैं जो आपके बच्चे कर सकते हैं, उनको उस मोड में डालिए कि वो अपने आप इंडिपेंडेंटली कुछ चीज़ें कर सकते हैं. Okay? So that is how they are going to take away your stress. You come up as a parent who is very stressed, and we really acknowledge that fact, we really recognize that yes, you are stressed. There's no harm in being stressful. There's no harm unless आप स्ट्रेस होता है, स्ट्रेस एक नेचुरल मैनिफेस्टेशन है ऑफ हाउ यू आर फीलिंग. ओके, सो we do understand it is very genuine and you're feeling it, but then you have to work out to some solutions. कुछ आपको solution based approach रखिए कि इतना अगर काम है, आप अपना टाइम कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, right? Little time management skill with parenting skill, that will be a beautiful amalgamation for you as a parent. And yes, chapters, अगर बच्चे बार बार वही चैप्टर आ रहे हैं, तो आपके बच्चे को तो चैप्टर आते होंगे ना, तो
Yes, ma'am.
बार बार भी आ रहे हैं तो आने दीजिए. इट इज अ रिविजन, बेटर होगा. और क्या होगा? there's no harm अगर एक ही चीज बार बार आ रही है. It's just your child is getting better at those skills. Okay, don't be stressed.
मैम एक्चुअली इसका रिजल्ट डाउन हो गया लास्ट 2 एग्जाम में, तो मुझे बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस रहता है, टू बी
तभी
ऑनेस्ट।
yes, that's why we are saying that manage your time and take some insights from what we have discussed today. Make your child little independent. That is going to help you, and that is going to help you in a long run. अभी की बात नहीं है, आगे भी जाकर आपको बहुत आपकी life will be more relaxed. So take care of yourself. All
मैं थोड़ा
right.
चेंजिंग के लिए नानी हाउस लेकर आई हूँ, बट बच्चे
बहुत
यहाँ
अच्छी
पर भी
बात
नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं कि नहीं नानी हाउस कोई पढ़ाई करता है।
है. तो 2 दिन नहीं भी पढ़ने दो. आप 2 दिन नहीं पढ़ने दोगे, तीसरे दिन वो पढ़ेंगे. कुछ कुछ स्ट्रैटेजाइज आपको करना होगा ना, थोड़ा फ्री डे दो, ठीक है. एवरी टाइम इफ यू आर आफ्टर द चिल्ड्रन, पढ़ लो, नहीं पढ़ेंगे. दे विल resist because you want them to do something. As I said in the session also, आप जितना उनको एक चीज के लिए कहेंगे, वो उतना उनका रेजिस्टेंस बढ़ता जाएगा. आप थोड़ा कम करिए, थोड़ा टाइम दीजिए. They also need to unwind. They also need to relax a little. Give them 2-3 days and then get on with a relaxed schedule. And then relaxed schedule से थोड़ा सा वो strict schedule पे आ जाएंगे, और that will be a very swift flow. Okay? So,
ओके मैम, थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
no problem, Mrs. Tanvar. I think
थैंक
we yes, thank you. I think we should wrap up the session. It's already 6:30. Nanshi ma'am, do we have more parents here
Uh,
to
Excuse
ask
me,
questions?
ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, I am mother of Akshay Upadhyay.
All right. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. मैम मेरे हस्बैंड डीयूम प्रोफेसर हैं और मेरे फादर इन लॉ भी हैं और मेरे फादर भी हैं। तो मैम मैं खुद एमएससी केमिस्ट्री से हूँ, पीएचडी कर रही हूँ। लेकिन मेरा बच्चा मैम इतना डिप्रेस हूँ मैम उसको लेकर कि इतना मैम उसको अभी वो मैम बात कर रही थी कि बच्चा काम नहीं करता मैम, उसको हम फोर्सली कहे या प्यार से कहें मैम, तो मैम उसके पास इतना एनर्जी है मैम, वो पूरे दिन खेलता है, पूरे दिन अगर उसको खेलने के लिए कहा जाए या कोई और काम कहा जाए तो बहुत मतलब इंजॉय के साथ करेगा मैम। लेकिन अगर वही स्टडी की बात करते हैं मैम तो मम्मा प्लीज, इसके अलावा लिखेगा मैम, थोड़ा सा लिखेगा और इतना फास्ट लिखेगा, इतनी मिस्टेक करेगा मैम, बैठ के मैम उसको उसके बहुत सारे होमवर्क होते हैं जो मैम खुद करती हूँ मैं, और कोशिश करती हूँ उससे करवाने की, लेकिन मैम वो ऐसे एक्सक्यूज देता है और ऐसा रोना स्टार्ट करता है मैम कि क्या करूँ, मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, प्लीज आप गाइड करिए कि मैं क्या करूँ।
How old is your child?
मैम 9 ईयर,
Okay,
क्लास
9 years.
4
And
में।
कितने घंटे या कितना एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं बच्चे को पढ़ने
मैम
के लिए, या क्या रूटीन होता है? ये काफी I think it will take a lot of time because it's kind of a, it will start as a case analysis, and um, I would request you to put in your phone number here, and we'll get back to you, because um, if you are opening up with a kind of a case, then we have to see a lot of aspects here, right?
यस मैम।
So, if you have any question related to the session, you can go ahead with asking. But if it is a very specific question to the routine of the child, or how the child is, not really following up with academics, so that can be taken a little later.
मैम आप इसका जैसे आपने अभी बहुत सारे लोगों की बात सुनी, मुझे अच्छा लगा, और आपने मैम बहुत अच्छी बातें भी बताई। मैं आपका मतलब
Right.
5 PM से जब से आपकी मीटिंग स्टार्ट हुई, मैं
Right.
कंटिन्यू मैम सुन रही हूँ।
See,
और
मैं आपको ब्रीफ में ये कह सकती हूँ कि आप पर डे गोल बनाइए बच्चे का कि इतना, एंड देन यू टेल द चाइल्ड टू गो आउट एंड प्ले, सो first the goal has to be completed for the day, whatever you have assigned a certain kind of schedule that has been framed by you, because बच्चे में फिजिकल एनर्जी बहुत है, एंड दैट द चाइल्ड हैज टू वेंट आउट, वो बाहर जाएगा, वो खेलेगा, और वो जब तक फिजिकल एनर्जी फिनिश नहीं होगी घर वापस भी नहीं आएगा, it will be very hard for you to bring back the child to home. Am I right?
यस मैम, उसके पास मैम
Right.
एनर्जी नहीं है मैम, कि
Right.
मतलब तो मैम पढ़ते समय उसकी सारी एनर्जी जैसे लगता है मैम, जैसे बैठा देते हैं ना मैम, तो जैसे
Right.
लगता है कि वो इतना एकदम टायर्ड हो गया है, और
तो
मतलब उसका
खेलने से पहले थोड़ा
इंटरेस्ट।
सा आप उसको बता के रखिए, बिकॉज एज 9 आप गोल सेट कर सकते हैं. Morality is more about following the orders given by the adult. So इस moral ground में अब morality बच्चों की जो होती है वो फॉर्म होती है. So this is what you can use. सुबह में जल्दी उठाइए, थोड़ा सा उसको अगर साइकिलिंग करनी है या बाहर कोई भी आउटडोर एक्टिविटी करनी
मैम
है.
अभी मैम मैं विलेज में हूँ, मॉर्निंग टू इवनिंग मैम डरता रहता है मैम, मॉर्निंग टू इवनिंग, बल्कि देखने वाले घर के लोग कहते हैं कि इस बच्चे में क्या है, इतना खाता भी नहीं है, और मॉर्निंग टू इवनिंग ये बच्चा कैसे इतना वर्क करता है, कैसे दौड़ता है। अभी मैम आप पेड़ को काटने को दे देना, वो पूरा पेड़ काट
Okay.
देगा।
So what we actually do with such people is we give a kind of goal for the day. Okay. अब ऐसे बच्चों के साथ हम goal for the day दे देते हैं, अब उनको ये goal for the day complete करना होगा, else आप उनको restrain करेंगे from going out. So that is one way that these things work, that you have to get the work completed, and then only the child will be able to go out. So this is one kind of strategy that we use, we work, and do take care of the nutrition. Too sweet नहीं देना बच्चे को, टू जंक टू सॉल्टी जंक फूड्स, इस इन चीज़ों से रिस्ट्रेन कीजिए. देयर शुड बी नो शुगर रश नहीं होना चाहिए, ज़्यादा मीठा नहीं होना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल
दैट
मैम,
ऑल्सो
ना वो
गिव्स.
मैम मैम ना वो मीठा पसंद करता है, ना जंक फूड पसंद करता है मैम। दाल रोटी, दाल चावल, घी के अलावा मैम वो कुछ भी नहीं, इवन वेजिटेबल्स में ग्रीन वेजिटेबल देने की कोशिश करते हैं, ज्यादा नहीं
ओके,
लेता,
सो
सिर्फ
आप
दाल।
ये फॉलो कीजिए, आप ये स्ट्रैटेजी फॉलो कीजिए जब तक वो बच्चा अपना टास्क कंप्लीट नहीं करेगा. दैट चाइल्ड इज नॉट going out. So that is the kind of restraint that you have to put.
मैम कहते हैं
So
मैम, लेकिन रोना शुरू हो जाता है मैम। पढ़ने बैठेगा ना, मैं बोल तो रहा, जैसे ही पढ़ने बैठेगा जैसे लगता है उसकी सारी एनर्जी लॉस्ट हो गई है, और आधे घंटे बाद मैम जैसे उसको लगेगा सर के ऊपर से जा रहा है। मैं उसको बहुत मैम, मैं कभी मारने की कोशिश नहीं
So,
करती मैम,
so we'll
लेकिन
discuss about this case. You can leave your number and we'll get back to you because there
एक
could be
मैम,
other dynamics which are playing that you are not, throwing light on. So this would not be the right platform to go into the family dynamics or, the other dynamics which may have an effect on this child,
यस
right?
मैम, मैम आप
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Can I get the recording of this session?
यस मैम।
Uh, can we get the recording of this session?
Taruna ma'am would be able to answer that. Taruna ma'am, the recording will be available.
Yes, ma'am. Recording will be available on our school YouTube channel. You can watch anytime.
यस
Thanks,
मैम।
ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
यस
So,
मैम, आप नंबर दे लीजिए।
all right. So we are running out of time, and we have Principal Ma'am with us, and I would invite Ma'am. Uh,
बट आपने अभी बोला ना नंबर दे रहे हैं मैम, तो नंबर अगर आप देंगी
oh,
तो
I
मैं
can't
आपसे
give number right now. You can put your number in the message box, and we'll get back to you.
Or maybe you can get in touch with the class teacher, and
Yeah,
class teacher will get in touch with ma'am.
right,
ओके मैम, ओके। थैंक यू
right.
मैम,
Ma'am,
आपसे बात
Thank you
sorry,
so much.
ma'am,
so much।
sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt,
this is
ma'am. Ma'am, if it is
Excuse me,
possible,
ma'am.
you send the number in the WhatsApp group of the every uh, session or every group, whatever the in the school, ma'am. If it is possible,
See,
ma'am,
we have these
we
Q&A
glad to have
rounds.
a discussion with you.
We
Sorry, ma'am.
have these question and answering platform, and here we can come up with certain interactions or certain all right, I can ask your teacher. You can get in touch with the teacher and you can share your concern, and then she can get back to me. So that is what we can.
Because, ma'am,
ओके मैम,
because sometimes we doesn't have any a right decision, ma'am. That time I need your help, ma'am. That's why I
Sure,
just need
sure,
your
sure.
number, ma'am.
Not a problem. You get in touch with the class teacher and try, as parent, you have to, sometimes you have to trust your instincts also. So there would not be always a third person that will be telling you. Try to trust your instincts, that parental instincts, they work very well.
Actually, ma'am,
So,
the first year with the DAV school in this session, ma'am. Actually,
okay,
she
no problem.
just joined recently.
Okay,
That's why the lot of numbers we doesn't have.
okay, no problem. You get in touch with the teacher.
ओके मैम,
Oh,
All right, thank
thank you
you.
very much, ma'am.
Yes,
थैंक यू
so
So
सो
nice to talk with you, ma'am.
thank you, my pleasure. So now we'll have
yeah, ma'am.
Principal Ma'am to
Ma'am, hello.
address. Yes.
Ma'am, this is Samir Rahimnish's father. I have a little query. I'll take only 30 or 40 seconds. Like, can school provide some kind of some kind of extracurricular activities?
Extracurricular activities are already there. Uh,
Maybe
they are
like
in the schedule.
outdoor extracurricular activities, like a skating tutor, or maybe some singing classes at home.
No, 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 no. We do not
What
encourage
happened
from our
actually?
school. You can
What
find
happened?
out from
Uh,
outside.
uh,
Definitely, no school encourages that. Like, I don't think.
Sorry.
We have our own faculty that takes care of the music and dance and the co-curricular activities, right?
Mm.
So we do not encourage tutoring the children
No, no,
from side.
I'm asking for just for extracurricular activities like dancing,
They're
singing,
already there.
and
They're already there. You need to check the schedule of the child. You need to check the timetable of the child, and then see. There are slots for dancing, music, everything.
okay,
All right.
okay,
Thank you so
okay. Thanks.
Already provides that, na music and all. आप लोगों का है ना?
Dancing Bharat.
Mrs. Sharma, you are unmuted. Now I'll take the pleasure of calling Principal Ma'am and address us all. Um,
Thank you, Suruchi, and what a wonderful session. One of the most interactive sessions I have seen so far. And I was listening to some very interesting queries of the parents and very apt answers from you, Suruchi ma'am. We are indeed very, very proud to have you as a part of our school family. As far as the some queries of the parents are concerned, although they have been addressed beautifully, but Suruchi ma'am, I would like to add a few things. The point where the parents are raising some issues about the timings, about the children having their classes at the same time. Well, everything that is happening in the school through the online classes is a very well thought out, discussed decision. Some of you were raising concerns about the constant examinations that the children are being subjected to. But for January and February, if you had a close look at the date sheet, it is not actually an exam. And this word itself, Suruchi ma'am also told you, it's the kind of environment that you create at home. Now, these are assessments. In the first 3 days, like the child joins on 11th of January and 13th onwards, when the assessments start, they are initially just going to be MCQs, and that too, all subjects one day together. So it is basically, targeted at the child revising whatever has been done. And it should not be difficult. We have thrown challenges, I agree. We have thrown challenges to the teachers, to the parents, and to the students. But do we have a choice? Like for all the mothers who were concerned about the timings, about the children being frustrated, tell me, do you have a better solution? And these assessments that are going to be carried out in the month of January and February, they are not just, exams. Initially, there are MCQs. Then, yes, there would be an open book test exam. After that, there will be activity based assessment and then project based assessment. So it is not that the child has to mug up everything. If he has attended the online classes, he will be able to, do those assessments and fare well. So do not be too concerned about that. Suruchi ma'am also told you that these are taxing times, these are different times. Use these different times as opportunities. आप में से कुछ लोगों को मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछूंगी कि आपको क्या इरिटेट करता है, एग्जाम या स्कूल का एक्सटेंडेड टाइम या बच्चे का मोबाइल देखना, या ये चीज इरिटेट करती है कि चीजें वैसी नहीं है जैसी लास्ट ईयर थी या जैसी तब थी जब ये पैंडेमिक नहीं था. So these are different times. We have to gear up and we have to stop comparing the times with the pre-pandemic times. अभी अगर सर्दी का मौसम है तो हम गर्म कपड़े निकालते हैं ना, हम अपने आप को कंफर्टेबल करते हैं ना. So there are ways, in which we will cope up, and we are beautifully coping up. Suruchi ma'am told you, Priyanshi ma'am also told you. So my request is, be with the school. And if at all you have any constructive decisions or suggestions that you want to share with us, do that. You can contact us on school mail. Most of you are asking for the telephone numbers of Suruchi ma'am, Priyanshi ma'am. Well, let me tell you, a counselor and a special educator in the school is an amalgamation of a doctor and a mother that every school needs, because there should be somebody who is not going to be judgmental at all. And that is what Suruchi ma'am and Priyanshi ma'am do. But if you think that, they would be on call 24/7, that may actually not be possible. However, You can share your concerns with the class teacher, who would then ask Suruchi ma'am for a time slot, and that will be communicated to you. And you can have a one-to-one session with Suruchi ma'am and Priyanshi ma'am. So thank you so much, Suruchi ma'am, for this session. Indeed, an eye opener and indeed very, very enlightening for all of us. I could see there are so many teachers. Teachers are parents, and now parents are also teachers. So great work done, Suruchi ma'am, and we are looking forward to many more such sessions by you and Priyanshi ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for such kind words, and definitely, broadening our perspective as well to how we are actually perceiving the online classes as. So have a better perception, make it more positive. Everybody, all the parents who are here, and let's work together. As we are a cohesive group that is coming out for the best interest of your child. We are not, overloading the child with the information, knowledge. No, that's not what we are planning to do. We are considering this time as a time uh, which has given us all a beautiful, opportunity to connect even better. So see it that way, and thank you each one of you who has been here and who has been kind enough to join this meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Principal Ma'am. We have tried to work on the principles that you have, imbibed in us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, respected ma'am. Thank you.